I want to share what's possible for you. There's a lot of people out there teaching transformation, and there's a lot of programs that are, in my opinion, quite juvenile, and they're probably keeping you unintentionally stuck. I want to show you what's possible. So, I have a student in my membership. I do one-on-one coaching, and I also have a group membership. And I have a student in my membership who was having an issue around his brother. His brother was dismissing his opinion, and he felt like this had gone on for his entire life. Now, one of the things that we do in this work is we find where the opposite is also true, right? If you think of the yin and the yang, nothing is black without white, and nothing is white without black. There are two sides to every story. And so one of the things I do is I say, okay, so what is the opposite? The opposite is welcoming your opinion. And where is that also true? And so he said to me, no, no, no way. He's never asked for my opinion, never wanted my opinion, no chance. And knowing the principles that I know that that's not true. And so I pushed again and I said, okay, so when has he welcomed your opinion? And he was like, Jill, I'm telling you, he's never wanted my opinion on anything. And so I pushed again. And I said, tell me in the last 72 hours where your brother has welcomed your opinion. And he stopped and he said, okay, well, my brother was at my place on Friday night. And I said, great. So what happened? He said, nothing. Like we were just sitting around talking. And I said, okay. And you were sitting around talking for what, 5 minutes or no, a few hours. And I said, okay, great. And so in that time, how much of it was he dismissing your opinion, just completely sort of shutting you down? And he said, well, he didn't. I said, okay. So in that conversation, he was actually welcoming what you had to say, I guess. So you could say that he was actually welcoming your opinion. Yes. And I said, great. I said, so that's the first part, right? Is you start to crack people open and you start to allow them to see the other side of this person. Because currently this person's a bit of a dick, right? He's just completely dismissed his opinion. They don't get along. There's like tension. It's just not fun. So he started to crack open, right? I took him through the rest of the process. There's more questions like this and also different. And until that program collapsed. Now, he came to class a few weeks later and he said, you're not going to believe what happened. And so many people like clients start their conversations to me like this. It's like, you're not going to believe what happened. And of course, I do because I know the power of this work. So he said to me, he said, my brother tried to call me and I didn't answer because I was in the phone, in the car with a colleague. Now, he had received a new phone number. He'd received a promotion at work and he had a new phone number. And the old phone number belonged to someone else in the company now. So next minute, the phone rings and it's the company phone number. At that time, the brother was calling his old work phone number and he was in the car with the person who now owned that phone number. So the brother tried to call a personal phone, couldn't get him, tried to call a business phone. And although that phone number was no longer his, he was in the car at the same time with the guy who now owned it. And you won't believe what he was calling for. He was calling to ask his brother's opinion. Now, this is what's available to you, right? It's a complete 180 of how your reality shows up. It doesn't matter whether you're pissed off with yourself, whether you're pissed off with other people, whether you're pissed off with life in general, or maybe pissed off isn't your word. Maybe you're just upset. Maybe you're just like frustrated or, there's just a judgment there. It doesn't matter what it is. Once you find the root cause and you collapse that program, your reality will change to reflect that. So he came to class a week after that and he said, you won't believe what happened. And I said, what? Tell me. And he said, my brother called me yesterday and told me that he loved me. Now, he didn't have to go out to his brother and say, I need you to show up differently. How you're behaving isn't good enough. I need you to love me. I need you to do this, blah, 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 blah. He didn't have to do any of that, right? He doesn't have to go to that person and have an awkward conversation. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a conversation whatsoever, but you don't have to, because your external reality is a reflection of your internal one. So once you change you, your external reality will change, right? They're entangled. The brother and my student are entangled. And so once this programming changes with my student, the programming changes with the brother, right? So it doesn't matter what situation you're in. It doesn't matter what's going on for you. It could be divorce. It could be health. It could be wealth. It could be other types of relationships. It could be just judgments that you have on yourself, imposter syndrome, self-sabotage. It doesn't matter what's going on for you. You have the power to change your life. It's just that there's so much out there that's not effective, right? There's so many processes and modalities and teachers that are keeping you unintentionally stuck. And there's a better way. There's a better way. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. There's two ways that you can work with me. You can either join my Alchemy Immersion program, which is a group program. It's such a beautiful, open community. It's a very safe space to be vulnerable and to be open and to share what's going on for you, whether you feel like you could ever do that now or not. People open up really quickly in that world as other people show their vulnerabilities. Or you can work with me one-on-one. I have some spots available for one-on-one coaching, and you can just comment or email me at hello@jillogle.com to find out about either of these options. Thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I will talk